You're listening to For Wales, See Wales. And if you want to know what's going on in Welsh politics at the moment, you're in exactly the right place. But for the time being, just give us a minute to hear from our sponsors.
So we are sponsored by Hello Starling. Now, we've mentioned them before, but I want to give you some case studies.
Go on, hit me.
Okay, one of their clients was Keep Wales Tidy. 45% of respondents to a post-campaign poll found that the campaign made them feel more responsible for their litter. I've seen Keep Wales Tidy all over the place.
Wales is
same.
tidy.
Yeah, famously.
Tidy. Now, Mel, you'll like this one. I'm not as big a fan. Horse World.
I'm in. I am locked in.
So they did a campaign with Horse World, and I love saying that. And they got over 20,000 new subscribers.
I can't wait to find out what Horse World is.
How many were humans subscribers?
Yeah, that's...
Yeah.
So that 20,001.
Yeah.
No, but there's another one. They don't just do Welsh stuff. One of their clients was Cotswold Wildlife Park, who saw a 44% increase in day tickets during the campaign. 44% increase in tickets.
That is a lot.
I love a wildlife park. Sorry, Hello Starling have got me written all over.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just for me. This is very targeted.
Yeah.
Very good targeting.
Very targeted.
Are all of these things did you subscribe to Horse World 20,000 times?
I must have done, and I love the Cotswolds, and I love a wildlife park.
Do you like furniture?
I do. I don't like how expensive it is, but go on.
So furniturebox.co.uk saw a 1,975% return on ad spend. So for every £1 spent on Hello Starling by FurnitureBox made £19 in sales.
Oh, wow, that's huge.
That's pretty good.
I know. Hello Starling, they're media buyers. They help get your product in front of the eyeballs of people. They're really, really good. So if you want to find out more, go to hellostarling.com.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of For Wales, See Wales with me, Mel Owen.
Me, Robin Morgan.
Me, Will Hayward. She's back.
She's back, baby.
She's back. She's got one foot, but she's fine.
Tell us how it happened. Tell us everything.
Oh, it's so annoyingly boring. I fell down a step in my own house.
One step.
One step. It's a big step.
Was
though,
it the
a
bottom
biggie.
step? Or was it just a single step?
Yeah, it was a step. Yeah, it's a single step from from my living room into my kitchen, and
Onto tiles. Is it tiles?
onto tiles, and I had socks on, slippery floor. You know when you're rushing and everything's like going a bit peaked on. So it was just and also I have, not to flex, I got a breakfast bar, and I was trying not to hit my head on it, so I just flung myself the other way, and then
Bloody
I
make.
didn't want to hit my head on the breakfast bar because I was flying towards
Would a breakfast bar do damage?
When you're over 5'4", you tend to sort of hit your head on things that are kind of...
But you just let go. You just let go of the bar.
I don't think you know what I'm talking about.
Breakfast bar, there. Mel falling over. Mel didn't want to hit her
like
head.
like an island. I thought you meant like
Nutri-Grain.
Yeah, I thought you meant like Nutri-Grain. I was like, just let the Nutri-Grain drop, Mel.
That's so funny.
I thought you were just like broke your fucking ankle to try and protect your like cereal bar.
It cost me £5.
Yeah,
It was like one naked bar. I was saving that.
No, that was commitment to defend.
We just let it go.
So when Mel said, I've got a breakfast bar, not to flex, like, all right, she's doing okay. She can afford a snack.
She looked at me like that's the...
She wanted a pack of 5. That's really funny.
Oh, that's made my day.
And then Robin started doing short jokes.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm bigger than a breakfast bar. They're like an inch off the ground.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. It's been a delight. It's lovely to have you back.
Thank you so much.
And your feet, you can walk now. You're fine.
Yes, I've had my plaster off, which is great. So I'm a bit more mobile.
Was it a break?
Yeah. So I've not got bolts in there. So I'm going to airports. It's going to be even more fun than it was previously.
Will the bolts come out?
Yeah. Do they fall? Do they disintegrate?
Or are you now?
I don't know about that.
Okay.
That's news to me. But I was very woozy. I was put under. I was knocked
general.
out.
Have you ever been in generals before?
No.
I've been generals.
Aye.
When comes the colonel?
Yeah, first time being generaled.
Yeah, and it was my first time being generaled, which is a surprise to everybody.
People are googling what is generaling.
I don't even know.
I don't know. We can make it up.
I don't know. But I didn't like the way I woke up like it hadn't happened.
Yeah.
It was a bit like being paralytic. Do you know what I mean? When you wake up in bed in the morning, you're like, I don't remember leaving the bar, you know. It was really weird.
My wife had surgery on her foot 10 days ago and was also general. So I think she's desperate to be Mel Owen. I think she's such an ally.
She's so desperate to be me.
Yeah, she had foot surgery.
How is she getting on
She's
with
okay.
it?
Yeah, she's on crutches still. It's going to be a little while, but she's hobbling around. But yeah, she's doing well, thank you.
Oh, bless her. You are the common denominator here. We need to be careful.
Watch out.
Exactly. We need to just consider the fact that women are breaking their foots around you.
Yeah, there is
Swooning.
Sure.
I thought of you and I just fell to the ground.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
There is a pattern here.
Yeah.
We should clarify for listeners. Last week we had Anthony Slaughter on, but we recorded that before Mel injured herself.
Yes.
We brought you in with AI, didn't we?
Yes, exactly. It was our first go with it, and I think nobody noticed.
I think it worked really well.
Yeah.
Like when you eat the carrot baton, you have 17 fingers, but you only see it for a second.
Exactly.
It's great. It's wonderful.
Should we talk politics?
Why not?
So we did have Anthony Slaughter on. He had his carrot batons.
We gave him those. He didn't come with carrot batons.
And he did take them graciously as well, I will say.
Gratefully as well.
Yeah.
I'd say the guest we've had who has been most like, oh God, what are they doing? When we bought out treats was when we bought cheese out for Drakeford.
In fairness to him, it was the first time we'd done that. He was our first guest that we had on the podcast.
It wasn't a part of the format yet.
No, whereas now it absolutely is.
Yeah. They know it's coming.
But also, I think he was just giddy with excitement. But also, he saw a cheese string and he was like, I'm above this. I'm a year from retirement. I don't need this shit.
He saw the cheese string and he went, internally, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, fuck you.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, fuck you. I guided us through COVID. What the fuck is this? Go to Waitrose. Fuck off.
Exactly.
What did you think of Anthony Slaughter?
Very interesting man. I think he has worked very hard. It's quite nice to have somebody who wasn't born in a role in politics and has kind of like worked from sort of like grassroots up to being a leader. It feels like he spoke very well about the things that he's very passionate about. Seems pretty down to earth, I think. I wonder how they'll get on in the elections and stuff, and whether he's, I suppose, the guy to sort of... It's hard because I'm sort of comparing him to Polanski.
Yeah.
Which is really difficult.
Totally. It's a very, very sort of difficult thing. And obviously, like he's a very good speaker. Zack Polanski has this kind of almost sort of populist angle of... and a great speaker. And I suppose in the point where we're talking about Slaughter, but I've already pivoted into Polanski.
Yeah. So I interviewed Polanski last weekend. He's a very good operator. He's quite good at putting himself as like a normal human being who's got passion and interest and he's upfront about what he says. I did think when I interviewed Polanski that it is clear, and I'm almost not judging him on this because he's a member of the London Assembly. I don't expect him to know the minutiae of devolution and the Barnett formula. But he had got limitations in his knowledge. He was talking about the issue with agriculture is we haven't had enough like devolution of agriculture. Well, it is devolved. Like it's. He also was saying about stuff about the Barnett formula. I was like, I'm not sure you 100% know.
And also, he isn't standing in Wales.
Yeah, exactly.
Neither is Nigel Farage, apparently.
I do think, though, that there are some people within Plaid who are concerned about the Greens, who see them as a potential threat.
Well, they are now. The fact that Labour still haven't tried to pivot more to the left and they're sort of staying within that sort of centre circle, the Greens are the most sort of the closely linked party, right?
Yeah, but there's a lot of overlap between the Greens and Plaid. There's been a couple of comments. So someone on, by the way, since we said how nice the YouTube comments have been, they've been even nicer. So we need to just...
Cowards.
But they are lush, aren't they?
But there was a couple of people, and I've had DMs on this, who they're annoyed because they say that the Greens are an England and Wales party, so they can't be compared to Plaid because Plaid are just focused on Wales, whereas the Greens, they say, are like this kind of UK party. I can kind of understand part of that because the Scottish Greens are a separate party. They're associated, but they're completely separate to Zack Polanski's Greens. There's plenty of, I think, ways you can question the Greens and look at and scrutinise their policy positions. I think arguing that they are too centralised is probably quite a stretch.
Just to clarify, what are people complaining about in terms of comparing them to Plaid?
So one of the comments was, the Green Party of England and Wales want to take seats from Plaid and are really only interested in Westminster and England. Why are you giving this rump a platform?
Don't call him a rump, he's a vegetarian.
Why are you giving this sirloin?
Come on now.
Bloody rare rump. I can understand somebody saying that from a Plaid supporter's point of view. Like, if you're a Plaid supporter, you're going to want Plaid, but also Plaid don't represent Wales at the moment.
Yeah.
You can't. That is feeding into the narrative that in order to be Welsh and be pro-Wales, you've got to support Plaid, and I'm sorry that it just isn't true.
Yeah. This idea that anything other than a vote for Plaid is a vote against Wales because I happen to be a Plaid supporter.
Yeah, exactly. That's
I know.
Yeah, that's just not correct. And I understand people having those personal feelings, but like that's an emotion, not a fact.
Yeah, I think actually it is interesting how parties are constituted because we put a lot of attention on the fact that we don't even know who the Welsh Tory leader is. There's no, and they don't either. They don't either.
Kemi's like, please not me.
Just anyone.
Yeah, shotgun not.
Shotgun not me.
Darren Miller's struggling to get on Skype from New York.
Skype. Pull one out.
He would.
Yeah.
Is Skype dead?
I think Skype's dead.
Imagine being the people who fumbled so bad that, Skype, you had a 10-year lead, you had one pandemic, and somebody just off sick one day, and next thing Zoom dominated everything.
Pathetic.
Imagine fumbling so bad.
Like, Skype was the only video call.
Yes.
It was the only one. And then we all needed to do it.
Yeah. And they were just like, we're just not going to try today.
Yeah.
I had family, before the pandemic, I had family where we both had iPhones, so we could have just FaceTimed, but they downloaded the Skype app.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Who owns it? I think Microsoft own it.
Microsoft. What a fraught meeting that would be.
Yeah. Teams is shit as well.
Yeah. They'd have to have had the meeting on Zoom.
Oh, brutal.
Google Meet.
Quite like a Google Meet.
Not anti it.
Yeah.
So with the Greens, you've basically, just a briefing on their structure. So you've got Zack Polanski leads the England and Wales Green Party. They have the Welsh Greens, which are essentially a region within that. They have their Welsh. They have a Welsh leader, and they can create Welsh-specific policies, which is how they got Welsh independence as one of their policies. Although Polanski has now come out and said, "Yeah, I think there should be an independent Wales as well." What I think is quite interesting about the interview I had with him, he basically indicated that the Welsh Greens are considering leaving and becoming their own party in of themselves, and he was like, "Yeah, I think this is that's what they want to do. I think that's a good thing." And that is quite a It's such a weird concept because when you have most parties are trying to centralise power in one place, that Green idea of kind of subsidiarity and spreading things out and making decisions as close as possible to the people they affect, I think is just different.
Yeah. If you love something, set it free. Also, maybe it'll come back.
And it might come back.
It might come back.
Also, just going back to that comment, I mean, why are you giving this rump a platform? I cannot tell you how many times over the last 10 years I've had Plaid supporters say to me, we're not getting enough media attention.
Nobody thinks they're getting enough, apart from people who are in really hot water and like, can I have less?
Yeah.
It's quite an insecure comment, I think, sort of worrying about kind of like, oh, no, we should, this is our time. We've deserved this.
Yeah, we've earned this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not how democracy works.
No.
And also I think Plaid having a shake-up, like, I say that, they haven't been in power, bless them, but like, it's like them having somebody nipping at their heels is not a bad thing. We've seen what's happened with Welsh Labour. When you don't really have effective competition or opposition, you stagnate, you don't become very effective, and then you're going to lose however many seats.
They'll probably they'll probably be thinking about Green as a partner if they are going to be the biggest party because they'll need a little bit of help, won't they? To sort of
it's actually going to be really interesting if the Greens say they get originally they'd said if we can get one MS that'd be really good. Then Anthony sort of said to us, well, we could get two, maybe we could get two. Polanski was like, maybe we could get 3 or 4, and I do think that would be quite a high watermark for them at this point.
I think that kind of delulu does tend to happen to people in campaigns, though. I'm sure you've seen it, though. Things start to go well, and you start to get a bit like, we could do better. We could do better. And it happens, And the thing is, I think, especially with candidates, the people around them want to keep their morale high, their confidence high, so they keep going out through the fatigue and so on and so on. And then sometimes there's a crash on election night when they realise that was delusional.
Yeah.
But I think that kind of, actually, what if we can get 2? We could get 4. I think that's very natural and normal, but not necessarily realistic.
The Greens doing well, depending on where their votes are coming from, wouldn't be terrible for Plaid, because if the Greens start taking that 6th spot in all the lists, if that stops Reform getting to its 2nd or its 3rd spot, then actually all that does is build up potential partners for Plaid after the election. If, though, the Greens are just taking basically pushing Labour out, it kind of keeps it the same. But I think Wales has been such a state of stagnation for so long. Things being different, the possibility of difference, I think is quite, like, wherever you stand in politics, I think even people in Labour would agree that something needs to change, something needs to be different.
Yeah.
Like, and if Labour are going to stand there and say, oh yeah, things are going really great, then they'll get what they deserve.
Yeah.
That was
Can we talk about election day and the fact that there's not going to be an overnight count? They've
so happy.
They've confirmed that now, right? So it's going to start the following day. Mm-hmm. Do we know what time it's going to start? Can certain councils start earlier?
So what some councils might do is they might count the number of votes overnight. Okay. So they go through and go, right, we've got this many. This is the total turnout. So they've got that overnight, because you don't need to monitor that because it's just counting 1, 2, 3, 4. Whereas when you're counting actual votes, you need people to be observing. And
they need to do that at like 1, 2, 3.
It's paper stuff,
Or can they put it in like those money counters? They goes,
No.
shame.
Very not.
I'm annoyed. Right, I used to love count night. I used to love being there. I think it's the excitement of it. You get in at 7 a.m., one way or the other. It's just, I think that's what's exciting about our politics. The fact that the future of our country is decided in a random leisure centre in a backwater town. I think that's everything that's good about our politics. And I'm so good. And it just feels like the most fucking Welsh thing to go, no, let's take the exciting bit out.
Yeah,
I'm really gutted.
I just wanted to see another sleep-deprived Will, and we're not going to get that. So I'm going to keep you up.
I mean, I am right now.
I love that for us.
I agree. I think part of the reason they're doing it is it's cheaper. It's cheaper to not pay people to do things overnight.
Right. Is it like time and a half or something?
I think I don't know the exact, but it is more expensive to do that
Councils
overnight.
do it for free though, don't they? It's a volunteering thing.
Yeah, but council staff. I do know what you mean. I really do love the overnight.
Yeah,
It's exciting.
It does.
Where will those votes be kept when they're counted and we have 10,000 votes from one place? Where are they kept before they start getting counted? Basically, where can I steal them?
So I was actually thinking about this. So I need to check. Because these constituencies are so big.
Yeah.
Like will it be counted in a central place? I would guess so. But in some cases, you're going to have like 100-mile drive to get them from one place to
Like
another.
Line of Duty, like
They'll be transported how they are normally, and then they will be kept securely with security in the leisure centre, in the village hall, in the.
You'd be really nervous driving those around.
Oh, imagine.
I left my window open. It's rained inside.
I guess, I wonder who they were for. Let's guess,
Yeah.
I used to love it though. There were certain boxes that you knew wouldn't come in until a certain time because they were that bit further away. So it was like, okay, they look like they're losing at the moment, but that war doesn't come in yet. So, and that will completely shift the night. And I loved that excitement. That is what I miss. I could not be, there's not a fee high enough in the world that would make me go back into politics, but I loved that night. I loved it.
I think we should. I was thinking we should go along and just be snide.
Yeah.
Like,
snarky comments over there.
Yeah.
Well, that's rough.
Just like, that thing where someone's counting and you just start saying random numbers to try and throw them off.
16.
32.
1.
We were talking about the need for like kind of change and stuff. Can I talk you guys through some data I've been going through as part of my research from a book? Nothing underscores the need for something different at this election than these figures.
We'll feed us the data.
What group in Wales, demographic-wise, do you think is most likely, in terms of age, to be in poverty?
Oh, thank you for that bleak question. Young people.
And can I add to that as well? Because I remember at uni they told us that students technically count as living below the breadline. So in the poverty figures, students, regardless of their economic background, are considered in that as well. So I'm going to also back you up with young people.
Young people.
Of which we all are included in that bracket.
Would we? No, I'd be... you're not in that bit yet where you sort of fill in forms and it's like 18 to 34. I have to go on like...
I'm now 35 to 40.
to
or 50 sometimes.
Just old pricks. I'm not an old prick.
Mine's 18 to badass bitch.
Yeah.
Far and away, the most common group in poverty is children in Wales. 30% of children in Wales live in poverty compared to 15% of pensioners. Basically, the younger you get, the more likely you are to be in poverty. So kids age, we'll put this graph up, but that is how poverty has changed for kids of different ages. So getting on to over 45% of kids 4 and under are in poverty. So we're getting on for half of kids aged 4 and under in poverty.
It's such a steep rise.
Exactly, it is. And
what's the sort of what's the date of that rise?
That date
like in the
from kind of 2021. Now, a big part that's underscoring this is the 2-child benefit cap. If you have families which have 1 child, 2 child, 3 child, of the children in poverty, 18% of them are from 1-child household. 23% of them are from 2-child households. 43% of them are from 3+ kids. Now, there's different levels of poverty. So the definition of poverty means that you are essentially earning less than 60% of the average income. By the average, it's the median. If you remember mode, median, and mean. So if you earn under 60% of the average income in a place, you are considered in poverty. Now, we all think, poverty's got much worse in Wales. But actually, if you look at the actual figures, the amount of people in poverty is pretty static. It's been about 21% for like decades. So often politicians are like, well, it's fairly stable. The problem is there's things below that figure which people are missing. So you have poverty, which is earning under that 60% of the average income. But then you have deep poverty, which is earning under 50% of the average income, so half of the average income. And then there's very deep poverty, which is earning 40% of the average income. So that is really, really small. Yeah. So for context, if you lived in very deep poverty, the figures change all the time because the average changes, but roughly that would mean that after housing, you have 15 quid a day for food, transport, clothing, internet. You fill your car up once and that's your budget gone.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just not livable.
Yeah, it's not. Although the total people in poverty has remained fairly static, the number of people in very deep poverty has changed. So I'm going to show another graph. This will all come up on YouTube. So that dark blue is very deep poverty. And if you'll notice, that as a percentage has increased quite significantly from there. So the poorest people in Wales are getting a lot poorer. In terms of children, like the number of kids in poverty is going one way. Scotland is going down. Child poverty in Scotland is going down. In Wales, it's going up. And over the coming years, it's expected to increase quite a bit more. In fact, let's first say why kids growing up in poverty is really bad. If you grow up in poverty, almost every single outcome, every single metric across your life is going to be worse.
Yeah.
Educational outcomes, health.
I've seen things that basically your first 1,000 days, you can basically chart a child's like future from nutritional value to educational everything. That which is what, sort of 3.
Oh my days.
Those first 1,000 days of a child's life, you can basically plot where they're going to go.
They show
it's heartbreaking,
crazy,
isn't it?
Really crazy.
It's so difficult because when you start to consider all elements of like children who are in care, for example, or like even like you say, born into poverty, something like that, and things can change later in life, and you can make all the effort and all the change and do all the work, and you're still so much further behind.
Yeah.
And in Wales, we're obsessed with talking about future generations, aren't we? Future Generations Act. Yeah. We really care about future generations. But we live in a country where more children live in poverty than any other group. I don't think you can look at that and think we're a country that really gives a shit about future generations.
You talk about it a lot.
We talk about it all the time. Now, I want to talk about the 2-child benefit cap because that's a thing that people hear a lot about, like people saying we want to scrap the 2-child benefit cap. So it's worth just explaining what that is. So essentially, when it comes to universal credit, so the 2-child benefit cap restricts state support through universal credit to just 2 children in the family. So once you go over that, you don't get any additional money for that 3rd or 4th child. So that means that money is then spread among more kids. Now, there's a part of me which understands why people would say, well, if you can't afford to have children, don't have more children. Now, let's put aside that as a thing for a second. It also presupposes that people were in poverty when they had the child. So imagine you are a steel worker in Port Talbot and you're working really well-paid job, and you and your partner say, we really like a big family, let's have 4 kids. And then you get made redundant through no fault of your own. And there's hundreds of other people trying to get a job at the same time, and your income falls The state will now says, no, that's your fault. Your child, we're not going to support you for that large family. And I think that's just wrong, isn't it? Putting aside like, oh, you shouldn't have had kids you can't afford. They could afford them. And then circumstances changed.
And also, let's not forget, the child didn't decide to come into a family that couldn't afford them. Like, I do understand the ideology of if you want kids, you should pay for them. I do understand it, right? But who are we punishing?
Exactly.
The child.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't choose to be born.
No, exactly. And what's even like more ridiculous is once you start thinking about, oh, well, that person's okay, you start getting into like the deserving and undeserving, which is just a repulsive way to go in terms of thinking. But it also like the state's going to pay for a child that grows up in poverty, whether it pays at the time to take them out of poverty or over the next 20 years with all of the problems that can come from that. And actually, you're much better off spending the kind of $3,000 a year, which it basically costs, to get rid of the two-child benefit cap than the hundreds of thousands it costs. Like, you have a child that grows up in a cold house, which isn't able to attend school, has a whole range of health problems. You're talking hundreds of thousands of pounds that the state is going to have to pay to alleviate that thing where they could have just gone, oh yeah, let's give them what we would give every other child. You shouldn't be punished as a child because you happen to have siblings.
No, and also there's a kind of like, you know, a more social aspect to that as well, of like a child feeling like they've got more opportunities. I'm not saying that every person who commits crime does so because they had no other choice, but you know, you're more likely to end up in prison if you have grown up in poverty. That is just fact. Do you know what I mean? Like, and so surely giving children opportunities to thrive is, if we're going to completely take the human element out of it, which we should keep in, but for a second, keeping those people out of prison economically is better for us as a country.
So what they've done in Scotland is they've introduced this thing called the Scottish Child Payment. Now, that essentially is a weekly payment of £27.15 that someone can get for every child that they look after that is under 16. There's no cap. So the Scottish...
Is that on top of child benefit?
Yes. That is something that the Scottish Government has chosen to do. And child poverty in Scotland is forecast to fall. It's continuing to fall ahead of 2029. In Wales, it's forecast to go up to 34% by 2029. And what the Welsh Government will say is, well, we don't have the big levers to deal with child poverty. And actually, the big levers, they don't have. You can't really solve child poverty in Wales unless the UK government also wants to solve it.
Okay.
But there's a hell of a lot more they can do. They have not left no stone unturned in the search for solving this issue. And it's incredibly frustrating because they had a target to eliminate child poverty by 2020.
Dropped.
Yep, dropped. It was dropped 2017 after they said that they wanted to do it. They reinforced their target in 2016 and then dropped it by 2017. It's not just that they've dropped the target, it's going up. They could have, instead of saying, oh, we're going to eliminate child poverty, they could say, well, we're not going to let it get worse. It is getting worse.
I believe this was the topic that Mark Drakeford was talking about in the Senate when he was doing a lot of the flipping.
Yeah.
Right. He was
Furious paper slashing.
He was getting very angry about R.T. Davis saying something, and he was talking. This has always been like quite a big sort of pet project of his, isn't it? Sort of trying to eradicate it. How much would the Scottish policy cost on a year? Do we know that in terms of like where, if the Welsh government was to say, we're going to put this into the next budget, how much are we talking?
They would notice they'd done it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be...
It's not just Greyhound money.
Yeah, it's not just Greyhound money. It also would pay for itself. Like, it would pay back over time. But the problem is, Wales has a year-on-year budget, and it has no idea what its next budget is going to be. And it's very hard to plan for those sort of things. But also, Wales does have a borrowing facility that it isn't fully using.
Like a Sheen.
Yeah, it is using that. This is when I say that no stone's been left unturned. They are the UK government. It is them who is in. It is Labour who are in charge in London.
Yeah,
there isn't an excuse for this, and this child poverty thing. Whatever you are as a society, however you want to judge a society, I think children living in poverty is probably one of the best ways to judge what a society is. Yeah. And at the moment, almost a third of our kids live in poverty, and almost half of under fours. Getting on for most toddlers. Like, that is mad.
It makes me desperately sad talking about this kind of stuff. It's really, really bleak. Since we started this, And I think it was the 20 mile an hour thing you were talking about of like, oh, it costs this much, but it's going to save us this much in the long run. I never thought about policies in that kind of aspect. And this is another one, isn't it? Kind of that £3,000 for extra children, but it's going to save you. For some reason, my brain never went, oh, but this is going to come back in the long run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really, I wonder how many people, maybe I'm just being a stupid prick, but I wonder how many people across Wales and across, society don't think of stuff like that. You see a big number going, well, why are we spending X amount on this policy?
Yeah.
As opposed to this idea of, well, no, because it's investing in this.
Yeah.
But we're not explained that.
No.
Where else would you really get that kind of insight and to be like, okay, this is how much it costs, full stop. No, it's not full stop. But actually, is it costing us that? Because over this amount of time, we get that back, like you said.
Yeah.
But we're just not told that information.
Yeah, it's like when those arguments come in about, well, why aren't these families buying, feeding their children porridge? Because when you see people tweeting about, well, a simple meal costs this amount of money. It's like £4 per portion. But then you need to buy all those things in bulk that costs about £30-40, and that's their entire weekly budget. You fucking idiot.
Let's look at the actual practicalities of it. And also, I think we need to consider there is a reason why people feel so disenfranchised, so left behind, so forgotten, and then do turn, as is unfortunately human nature, to blame other people.
Yeah.
And then we wonder why we have such a hostile political environment right now. And, I'm not blaming anybody in particular, but I just think we need to consider when you do have swathes of people who feel like they've been forgotten about and have struggled through their whole lives, they don't trust the institution anymore. So of course they're going to believe people who go, we don't trust them either. We'll do things better. Like, of course they're going to be this is why I'm so cautious to call anybody stupid or they're just racist, they're just ridiculous. Because actually, when you have been struggling your whole life and somebody says to you, we get you like they don't get you, and it is those people's fault, I understand how people get to that thought process.
If you see that data and going, well, child poverty is getting worse.
Yeah.
It's getting worse.
Yeah.
So how can you then say that the people who are in power are trying to make things better within that one sort of policy?
And whilst I disagree with this wholeheartedly with every fibre of my being, when somebody, like you say, who can see that, will say, okay, child poverty is getting worse, and then somebody smacks them in the face with a figure, but we're spending this on Nation of Sanctuary, they're going to go, well, that is wrong, because what about our kids who are starving? So it is... I can understand it, and I think we so desperately need to understand these people in order to make sure that we don't end up in a really horribly hostile country.
It felt like during the Caerphilly by-election when Nation of Sanctuary became like a really big point, someone who's into politics was seeing a lot of people saying, well, the Nation of Sanctuary is this, and this is how much is going into it, and it's predominantly 85% Ukrainian refugees. But those things should have been talked about 6 months before when all of this stuff was happening.
It became a football, though.
Yeah.
Because that's easy to bat around when people feel disenfranchised. And I think we need to consider this in the context of the political scene that we've got today.
I think you're right. It's all very well to say, well, actually, it's Nation of Sanctuary is 0.02% of the Welsh government budget, and it's only like 10 million a year. If you've just poured 70% of your disposable income into your petrol tank, you think, 10 million?
£10 million.
Yeah. I think one of the big problems we have you talked, Robin, about that interconnected nature of things and how actually public spending often isn't public spending. We should see it as public investment because it actually saves money. One of the biggest problems we have in the UK is the Treasury. So the Treasury and this idea of Treasury brain. So the Treasury has two functions. So it's the accountancy department, which has to balance the books. And it's also supposed to be the economic development department, which is supposed to help things grow and invest now for things that will return in 20 years, those kind of long-term investments. But it has to do both those things. And overwhelmingly, it focuses on balancing the books. We've got to balance the books. Like, oh, well, we're spending too much on housing. Let's freeze local housing allowance. Well, yeah, that has just saved you X amount of money, but over the next 10 years, that's going to mean homelessness goes up, which costs you 3 times as much. And it doesn't have that ability to connect that because it's thinking week to week, month to month, year, rather than decade to decade. So every single thing and one of the problems we have that are now compounding is we've said, right, we're going to cut support for housing. Okay, well, now actually our housing is lower quality, so that has impacts on health. We've got more people in the using the NHS now. Oh, that's really frustrating. Okay, what we'll do is let's cut a bit from housing. We'll put more into that. Okay, we've got to spend a bit more on health. Well, actually, let's cut a little bit from education and kids' sport. Well, actually, that's meant that health has got worse.
Yeah.
Tell you what we'll do. Let's cut from X. Let's cut from this. And it just compounds and compounds and compounds. And ultimately, it then leads to poverty figures that we see here. And we're like, well, quite a lot of our toddlers are actually really growing up in poverty. That can't be good. I wonder why this is. Maybe people aren't working as much or working as hard. And it all comes down to this fact that the institution that has the most power and leverage at the top of government has two functions and is just doing one of them. And even that, it's not doing very well.
Has that always been the case? All my sort of life being aware of budgets and things, it seems like it has been.
The problem is, because our economy is so stagnant, it's hard to operate from a point of view of just zero growth. Like, it was easier for the Blair governments when you were getting increased tax revenue to then increase spending somewhere because you have more to spread around. But ultimately, it takes political courage. The NHS and the welfare state was founded when the country was bankrupt after World War II. It is perfectly possible to be brave, have a bit of like gumption, and force through and make and not just make changes, but convince people that changes are needed and why they're needed. This is why, because of the NHS was set up at probably one of the lowest times economically for for the UK. That's why I don't accept that now things are too bad for us to solve problems. Well, we need to go and have a Nutri-Grain bar.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch them. Don't get them above my head.
I enjoyed it so much.
That is so brilliant.
If you have to fall, please prioritise breaking a Nutri-Grain bar and breaking your ankle.
I will try. I love them. They are spenny, though. Strawberry or apple?
I'm strawberry.
Strawberry boy.
Yeah. What did you call me? Yeah, I think I'll be a strawberry boy.
Yeah?
You? Apple gal?
I'm an apple gal. I'm an appley gal.
Really?
Gal.
Yeah.
Our next live show, I'm going to buy so many breakfast bars and throw them out into the audience.
Watch your head, put the helmets on.
Yeah. Thank you very much for listening, / for watching.
Yes, thank you. Oh, can I give a shout out as well to
please.
the boy/man who said that he loved the podcast in Bangor. I was hobbling. I was on like day 4 of broken foot. I was going on my crutches out of this restaurant. I'd already put my hood on and everything. But you know when that hood's like so far down you can barely see. And this guy was like, Mel. And I was like, and I could like barely see him. So I was like trying to angle my head. Like I was throwing it back like a horse. And he was like, I love the pod. And I was like, thank you so much. Thank you. And just hobbled out like a donkey that had been shot.
Off to Horse World.
So I want to say thank you and sorry to him. But I love that. When people say they enjoy the podcast, it makes me very happy. Thank you.
Excellent. Keep the comments coming on YouTube. We won't always dissect them.
Well, and it's important as well.
Okay.
And feedback is really great. Where would you like our next live show to be?
Yeah.
What guests would you like on? Let us know.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. Excellent. Well, thank you very much. We will be back next week. Big thanks to Heyman Media. If you need video, podcast, images, we just can't recommend them enough. The amount of times they've made my journalism look much better than it actually deserves to be. But yeah, thanks very much. My name's Will Hayward.
My name's Robin Morgan.
My name's Belle Owen. Bye.
Bye.
Jochen Lauer.